Mieszanie kawy pałeczkami. Metodą wirową. Jedyny prawdziwy sposób na optymalizację smaku kawy. Na poziomie molekularnym. Witamy w programie Daybreak. Jestem sułtanem. Zaczniemy, ale najpierw kawa. Ładny.
Nice. And it's a good morning. Couple observations. In the past couple of weeks, 3 men have reached out to me whose wives have died. One as recent as 8 days ago. Widowed women get offered all kinds of help without even asking. I've noticed this. Men are pretty much left alone, staring at their wives' clothes, their late wives' clothes in the closet, her pictures, her stuff in the bathroom. And the stuff that goes through a man's head is completely unique. Because men and women are different. Widowerhood is a completely different experience than widowhood when it comes to society. That's one of the things that I've noticed over the decades of doing this. Especially if the man has to raise kids. That's pretty interesting. So what do you think the differences are? Put your answers down below. We'll switch gears for a second here. Monetary goals are always better than activity goals. Activity and busyness does not always translate to revenue. This is why you must say, I want to make 100,000 a year. Why I want to make 1 million a year. Why you want to make 10 million a year. And then, of course, back it up with all of the why reasons, the whys. Why do you want to do that? What is it for? Is it just for sport? Is it to support something? I have 3 children. They don't need me, but maybe they will someday. I have 2 aging parents that are probably going to need me someday. Not only will I be there and help physically, logistically, if somebody needs help, but the reality is it's going to take money. And it's going to take more than I am just making right now. So, monetary goals are always better than just activity goals, rather than just being busy. So when I work with you, I'm working with you on systems. One of the things that is true, if you want to go from making 100,000, let's just say you're working your butt off, and you're making 100,000 a year, and you want to make 1 million a year. 1 million is 10 times bigger than 100,000. Does that mean you have to work 10 times harder, 10 times longer to make that million? No. It means you have to have some systems in place in order to make that happen. You can burn yourself out working 16, 18 hours a day. And if you don't have systems in place, Kitty's jumping. If you don't have systems in place, it's not going to happen. It's the same thing with the guy who wants to go from 10 million a year to 100 million a year. He's not going to work 10 times harder. And again, there's a man watching right now whose wife said that she doesn't want to be married. She just popped it on him within the past day, within the past week. He heard it with his own ears. I don't want to be married anymore. Or what was the other one that I read recently? Read it last night, actually. She says, I don't think I'm the marriage type. And she said it with a straight face. One fella reported. How do you deal with that? What do you do? So, for that guy, talk to him. You, talk to him. Give him hope. What would you tell him? Put your answer down below. This is an interactive platform. I would like to think that people read the comments. I would like to think that people get help from the comments, not just from the commentary here. One fella said, following you, George, is breakup insurance, whether you are dating or married. That's the good news and the bad news, that I am breakup insurance. But that was an interesting statement. I've been called a lot of things in my lifetime, but I've never been called breakup insurance. It's a shame that most modern women will end up with only one man in their life. And that's the doctor that prescribes their antidepressants to them because of all of their bad life choices, just one after another. They can only keep up the good appearance for so long. Most women break up with most men. That is a fact. And that's one of the things that keeps me in business. It's an evergreen business because there's always breakups, because there's always divorces. There's always going to be a need for what I do to help men put their head squarely on their shoulders and their feet firmly planted on the ground. It's kind of like first world revenue, so to speak. Now, if World War III happens, I might end up being out of business. I don't know. Went to a Georgian restaurant, Georgian as in the country of Georgia, near Russia, in northeast Philadelphia. Magnificent. Spiced chicken, khinkali, lamb dumplings, khachapuri bread with Georgian cheese and egg. I'm butchering these words, I know. Karcho beef stew, Georgian red wine, and a nice mix of Russian, Georgian, and Polish people at the restaurant. It's the first stop on my Eastern European food tour. Even though I was raised by a Russian mother and an Italian father, and food was a big part of what we did, this type of cooking was very similar. And here's some pictures of it. You know, there's a lot of talk about old man energy, old man strength. You know, people surprised that a guy who's over 45 can bench press his weight, or over 50, over 55. Let's talk about the guys that are over 60. That old man strength. Not a lot of people talk about old man sex. The sex that old men have. Why? Because most guys over 45, they can't get it up, they can't keep it up. And they can't sexually de-stress their wives for an hour 3 to 4 times a week and put that perpetual grin on her face. I can tell you that as a man over 60 who is not ready to put that part of his life to bed yet, to put it to sleep, it's a big part of my life. Even the potential of making love, if you're celibate right now, staying in as good shape as you can to be able to make love and de-stress your wife. She getting on your case? She getting on your nerves? Guess what? If you have a little session with her 3 times a week, 4 times a week, for an hour, all of a sudden, she gets a better attitude. She starts to feel young again. Something to think about. Now, there is a good why. That'll help out the home. Keep the home fires burning. Never choose a woman who is thirsty for attention from other men. Man, that's been going around the web. Not only from some of my friends, but I've been saying it as well. I think there is a weird synchronicity happening because I've heard 3 different people say it, and I said it myself on social media. Never choose a woman who is thirsty for attention from other men. You know why? Because that, my brother, is going to cause you a lot of heartache in the future if she wants attention from other men. How does she do that? By wearing different makeup, getting her hair different. She just looks different in the face. She's getting thinner, and she's not doing it for you. And I'm not saying to be at odds with your woman. I am saying this. If your own personal sex life is not ramping up, but she's doing those things, she's getting ready to fly the coop. I've experienced it. I'm just letting you know. Now, do you confront her? No. Just be a little more observant right now over a period of time. And then just ask her. That's all. But be ready for an answer that you don't want to hear. I took a poll, and I asked, when did you lose your virginity? 19 or before, 20 to 29, 30 to 39, and the last choice is I'm still a virgin. Well, 19 or before got 61%. 20 to 29 got 22%. 30 to 39 got 2.9, so we'll say 3%. And then 13.6% said, I'm still a virgin, out of the people that participated in that poll. So it looks like, let's see, 61 and 22, so there's 83.5% lost their virginity before they were 30, but the majority lost their virginity at 19 or before, when they were teenagers. It's interesting, right? All kinds of implications with that. A YouTube insider says people will watch a 30-second video twice rather than a 60-second video once. And my reaction to that is, what the heck is up with people's attention spans? Because I like doing long-form material. These are actual statistics on retention rates. So you're going to make your millions on YouTube doing lots of 30-second videos. This whole, like, they're really pushing the shorts, the reels, and the stories big time. And this is where all content creators, YouTubers like myself, you kind of get red-pilled about your channels. You know, when you see that world as it is and not how you want it to be. So there's a couple different ways of looking at this. You can get all black-pilled and doomered, or make the pivot and do long form just a couple times a week and just roll with the whole shorts and reels thing. Every platform now is exploding with 30 to 60-second videos. One guy says, you've got 3 seconds to keep people's attention. Three seconds. That's what our attention spans have basically come to. 3 seconds. It's amazing. I was in a seminar yesterday, and a guy said, if you look at the retention time, if you can keep everybody for 30 seconds or more, you're considered a success in YouTube. 30 seconds. I don't even know what my retention rate is. Are there people watching this right now who are watching the whole show from start to finish? Or are you just going to watch for a minute or two and then move on to something else? I don't know. Cinnamon is good for blood pressure. Broccoli sprouts are great for type 2 diabetes. Ginger root can help with any kind of inflammation. And I'm just wondering, why doesn't insurance cover this? They're real quick to cover all the other stuff that comes from a pharmacy in a little yellow bottle. But they don't cover the food that can actually reduce the symptoms and eliminate the need for taking medication. There's something to think about. So finish your coffee, and I'll see you on the next Daybreak Show, your home of sanity, clarity, and reason.